At Southern New Hampshire University, creating an inclusive and accessible learning environment is a priority. Your experience is crucial, and if you require accommodations, please reach out to the respective centers. Online students can reach our Online Accessibility Center at OAC at snhu.edu or 866-305-9430. Campus students can reach out to CAC at snhu.edu or 603-644-3118. And the SNHU staff and faculty can reach out to HR at snhu.edu. With that, we've covered the essentials for a smooth and engaging conference experience. Thank you for joining us for our resume session. Get ready to be inspired, learn, and connect. Now let's get a bit more about our presenter to get started. Hi, everyone. My name is Ben, and I'm here today to talk about resumes. Prior to coming to Southern New Hampshire University, I spent the bulk of my professional career in the IT industry as a technical recruiter, working in the private sector, DoD subcontracting space, and for a time with the federal government. From this, I gained interviewing skills, a bunch of technical and operational knowledge, ran across some pretty cool projects and technologies, but ultimately it was my job to sell people on paper to give me the best shot of having my applicant selected so I could make a buck. You got to keep a roof over your head at the end of the day. Today, we'll be discussing resumes from a bit of a different perspective to help give yourself the best chance at getting a call for an interview. There are plenty of resources out there on how to write bullets, what to include as experience, and how a resume is structured. I'm sure I could give you the same info here, but instead, I'm going to be sharing with you how resumes are written and why things should be presented in a certain way from an insider's perspective in order to more effectively sell yourself to the reader. First, let's cover what a resume kind of is, but really isn't. Yes, a resume is a history of your jobs, what you've done on the job, some highlights of what you've done for an employer or successes you've had, but that isn't all. This will feed into the importance of resume customization we'll be talking about later. What your resume is. Your resume is a sales document pulled together for an audience of one person. Resumes get about 20 to 25 seconds of a quick eyeball scan before the reader decides to move on to the next applicant or continue looking at your resume. Your job is to keep that hiring manager's eye on your resume for as long as possible by showcasing relevant knowledge, skills, abilities, along with personal qualities and traits that the individual is hiring for. The longer you can keep their eye on your document, the higher the likelihood it is that you'll be getting a call. You've got to spoon feed to them exactly what they're looking for in an applicant. Resumes are used in a couple of different ways. Most folks, when starting a job search, will post a resume on sites like Handshake, Indeed, LinkedIn, ZipRecruiter, to name a few. This is fine when trying to get yourself noticed. The first major thing to be aware of is that hiring managers and recruiters have access to these platforms from a searchable perspective using keywords. As a recruiter, for example, I might be looking for a software developer who knows C++, Java, and is familiar with MS SQL. Those are the words I'd put into my initial search string to start filtering potential candidates that I'd want to contact. With this in mind, if you're looking for a job and don't have any of the relevant keywords in your resume as it relates to the work that you're hoping to get, you won't be coming up in a recruiter search. It's important to take a look at least 2 or 3 job descriptions for the type of job you're hoping to land and get some of that industry knowledge, skills, abilities, personal qualities, and traits into your document so that it will come up in a search. For applying to jobs, and this is one of the few takeaways I'd really like you to leave with today, is that you'll need to thoroughly custom tailor your resume specifically to the job that you're applying for. It's important to keep in mind that there will ultimately be a person at the other end of your application, and they'll be reading and judging your resume for the job that you're applying for. And it might be someone in HR to begin with, but ultimately your resume will be getting to the team lead, department head, hiring manager, for the roles that you're applying for, and it's likely that they may have also had a hand in writing that job description. If they're not seeing exactly what they're looking for within that first 20 to 25 seconds of skimming your resume, they're going to be moving on to the next applicant. Your job is to draw them in for a closer look by feeding back to them what they're asking for in that job description. Even if you don't have all of the job skills or experience needed for a particular role, employers can be curious to discuss with you how you'd be a good candidate if you show as much alignment to the role in as many aspects as you can. Employers do rely on qualifications, but not just qualifications alone. They're looking for the right person for the job. When looking at your resume, they're trying to imagine you working for them within their corporate environment, how you'd look like working as part of their team, and potentially interfacing with their clients or customers. Even if you have all the knowledge and skills required for the job, if they're not getting a sense of who you are and what you look like on the job or how you operate, they're going to be moving on to the next applicant who would be a better fit for the role. You've got to sell yourself to the role by leveraging your resume as more of a marketing piece that highlights and explains why they should select you over someone else. Um, and I'll just touch on this real quickly. It's the one versus two-page resume debate. Um, the one-page resume came out in the late 90s as kind of a fad for C-level executives. So if you were like a CEO or a CFO and you're closing like major business overseas or you take a company public, those types of folks can get away with a one-page resume because they're a known element in the industry. As a job seeker, two-page resumes are industry standard, and you're likely going to need that extra room to be able to effectively sell yourself to the reader. So two-page resumes are perfectly fine. One-page resumes do have their place. So if you're going to like a hiring fair, a job fair, or if you're walking in for an interview, you can use that one-page resume. Okay, resume customization. The job description will have pretty much everything you need in it to begin customizing your resume. It will have all of the knowledge, skills, and abilities in there that you'd need to write to. And if the employer is asking for someone with particular skills, like certain databases, phone systems, words per minute for typing, programming languages, certifications, things like attention to detail, customer service, etc., you write to those and get those into your document. When it comes to writing impactful bullet points for the reader, the STAR method works well. There are other methodologies and acronyms out there for how to write impactful bullets, but this one covers the basics. You're creating a short story that is about a line to about a line and a half, 2 lines max, that describes what your circumstance was, what you did, and the results of your actions. You want to highlight to the reader how you are effective at what you do or did and your impact on the business or the customer client experience. Okay, so writing impactful bullets, it does take some practice. And here are a few pretty boiled down examples of bullets that I've seen in the past. The trick here is to showcase something about you and what you are bringing to the table that an employer would find valuable to them and their organization by attaching a skill or something descriptive about what you do on the job. You could also write this one to reflect things such as active listening skills or using critical thinking and problem solving abilities to deliver what the customer is looking for. And in our third example here, you can see how things have a different impact when you could be sharing the scope of what your job covers and tie it to a communication skill. When it comes to applying for jobs, it's important to understand the reality of how things work behind the scenes. I've heard this phrase quite often. You likely may have heard it yourself of I've sent out 100 resumes last month and haven't gotten a single phone call. This is something that you may have experienced, know someone who's experienced it, or might be about to start experience it if you're just starting out on a job search. Most companies rely on some sort of applicant tracking system or resume screening software to weed out potential applicants. Depending on the type of role or even the company, they could potentially get anywhere between 50 to 300 resumes for one job, and they rely on this type of software to restrict the flow of resumes getting to their HR department. And here's the most important part of my presentation, and if you walk away with nothing else, walk away with this. In most cases, in between you and the employer, that layer of software doesn't care about who you are, what jobs you've had, your work ethic, how much of a good fit you could actually be for an opportunity that you're applying for. That software is looking just for something called keyword match rate. And the short story is if your resume doesn't have enough of the keywords from the job description in it, the software will prevent your resume from moving forward to an actual human being. Goal number one is you have to beat the software first by taking the time to thoroughly customize your resume using keywords from the job description in order to give yourself the best shot at getting in front of a human set of eyes. Always keep in mind, you have to beat the software first. And let's dig in on how to do that. To start with, a quick note on formatting. In the next couple of slides, I'll be showing you the wrong and then the right way of how a resume should be formatted. Okay, so this is an example of how a resume should not look. There's a lot going on here. I've got a really cool template with my picture on it, a graph, and some basic bullets that aren't very descriptive. I'm guessing your eyes are likely darting all over the place looking at this and trying to take it all in. So the first thing you got to do is you have to keep the reader in mind. If they're not able to easily access what they're looking for with all these distractions going on, they might be missing out on something important that you have in a template like this. You got to keep it clean. Second, think of the software that your resume is going to be processed through, like an applicant tracking system. To you, visually, it may look fine, but once it's processed, it may come through as garbled, sections out of place, or in the case of the graphics in the little boxes, just completely missed. More visually appealing resumes are reserved for networking events, job fairs, or again, even to hand someone when going in for an interview. Okay, so here's my standard resume template. See how it's much easier on the eye? The reader can start at the top and start skimming down into the professional summary, quickly hit that skills section to see what's there. Typically start with a professional summary followed by a skills bank. These will be read first. Depending on your experience level or if you're changing industries, you might have your education at the bottom or put your education under the skills area first and then proceed to your professional experience. Not only is this visually easy to digest, but it's also able to be more accurately processed through resume screening software. A quick note on having an objective as opposed to a professional summary. Keep in mind that it's not so much about what you're looking for as much as it is to highlight your alignment specifically to the role that you're applying for. So this is a site called JobScan. There's a couple of others out there, including our Skills First platform or Resume Worded. This particular one is jobscan.co. It's not an error. It's jobscan.co, not .com. You can sign up for the free version of this, and I think you get like 5 free scans per month. And on this site, you can quickly run your resume against the job description, and it will kick back a report with your keyword match rate, along with a list of keywords that are in the job description that are missing from your resume. Anything with a little red X next to it is a keyword that's missing from your document. Your job is to work in as many keywords into your resume in order to boost your keyword match rate to a bare minimum of 65%. It doesn't matter where those keywords appear in your document. It could be in your professional summary, your skills, relevant coursework, in your experiential bullets. It doesn't matter. They just have to be in your document. So when approaching custom tailoring your document, it's not just a matter of tweaking your resume here and there, but instead a thorough customization specifically to the job that you're applying for, and this takes time. For every resume you send out, it could take a half hour, 45 minutes, maybe an hour to go through your document to make those adjustments to highlight how you specifically would be a fantastic applicant for the job. And This investment of time has a payoff as it means the difference between getting the job that you want as opposed to taking a job that you can get. It also means the difference between sending out that 100 resumes and hearing nothing back versus sending out 10 highly customized resumes and getting 2 or 3 phone calls back. And if you think about it, what's an hour or so of your time on the front end that will have a direct impact on your happiness levels for the next 3 to 5 years of your life? Doing this also has a bit of a side benefit. By ensuring that you're getting as many keywords as you can into your resume, you'll not only be beating the software, which is mission first, but it will have an impact on the reader as well. It'll show that you've taken the time to align yourself to the role, which in turn shows a higher level of interest in pursuing the opportunity. And that's pretty much it for the recording. And for the live session, we'd have a Q&A, but I'm just going to touch on one last thing before we end my presentation here and talk about federal versus private sector resumes. Federal resumes have a thing of their own. They need to be built on USA Jobs. It's got a very specific format, um, and they can be 3, 4 pages long. And private sector resumes are typically 1 or 2 pages, but no more than 2 pages. As part of the offerings that we have here at Southern Hampshire University, this is a resource that you all have access to in the career section of your MySNHU homepage called Skills First. It's fairly intuitive to use, but our department can help you navigate the site if needed. It works a bit like JobScan, but also provides some other useful artificial intelligence tools for resume customization, selling yourself effectively to the reader when applying for a particular job, and also a great tool called a skills gap analysis tool, and which is very helpful. And that is pretty much it. And oh, here's my federal resume slide. Okay, great recording so far. A quick note on types of resumes, depending on the types of jobs that you're applying for. There is a big difference between a resume that you'd submit to a company or an organization that operates in the private sector and a resume for jobs at the federal level. What I have here is a very brief overview of what those differences are, and depending on which one you need, Career Services can help you get trained up on how to do that. And with that said, I will be ending my presentation. Thank you for your time. And yeah, if you need help with a job search or professional documents, we're here for you.